organization in plants and animals. The description of the diverse forms of life on Earth was made only by observation through naked eyes or later through magnifying lenses and microscopes. This description is mainly of gross structural feature, both external and internal. In addition, observable and perceivable living phenomena were also recorded as part of these description. Before experimental biology, or more especially physiology, was established as a part of biology, naturalists described only biology. Hence biology remained as a natural history for a long time. The description by itself was amazing in terms of detail. While the initial reaction of a student could be boredom, one should keep in mind that the detailed description was utilized in the later day reductionist biology, where living processes drew more attention from scientists than the description of life form and their structure. Hence, this description became meaningful and helped in framing research questions in physiology or evolutionary biology. In the following chapter of this unit, the structural organization of plants and animals, including the structural basis of physiological or behavioral phenomena, is described. For convenience, this description of morphological and anatomical features is presented separately for plants and animals. Scientist Catherine Isu was born in Ukraine in 1898. She studied agriculture in Russia and Germany and received her doctorate in 1931 in United States. She reported in her early publication that the curly top virus is spread through a plant via the through a through the food conducting or phloem tissue. Dr. Eso Plant Anatomy, published in 1954, took a dynamic development approach designed to enhance one's understanding of plant structure and an enormous impact worldwide, literally bringing about a revival of the discipline. The Anatomy of Seed Plants by Catherine Isu was published in 1960. It was referred to as Webster of the plant biology. It is encyclopedic. In 1957, she was elected to the National Academy of Sciences, becoming the sixth woman to receive that honor. In addition to these prestigious awards, she received the National Medal of Science from President George Bush in 1989. When Catherine Isu died in the year 1997, Peter Raven, director of Anatomy and Morphology, Missouri Botanical Garden, remembered that she absolutely dominated the field of plant biology even at the age of 99. Catherine Isu was born in 1898 and died in 1997. Chapter 5, Morphology of Flowering Plants. The wide range in the structure of higher plants will never fail to fascinate us, even though the angiosperms show a large diversity in external structure or morphology. They are all characterized by presence of root, stems, leaves, flowers, and fruits. In chapter 2 and 3, we talk about classification of plant based on morphological and other characteristics. For any successful attempt or at classification and at understanding any higher plant, or for that matter any living organism, we need to know standard technical terms and standard definition. We also need to know about the possible variation in different parts found as adaptation of the plant to their environment. Example: adaptation to various habitats for protection, climbing, and storage, etc. If you pull out any weed, you will see that all of them have a root, stems, and leaf. They may be bearing flowers and fruits. The underground part of the flowering plant is the root system, while the portion above the ground forms from ground forms the shoot system that is given in figure 5.1. 5.1 The root. In majority of the dicotyledonous plant, the direct elongation of the radicle leads to the formation of primary root, which grows inside the soil. It bears lateral roots of several orders that are referred to as secondary, tertiary, etc. roots. The primary roots and its branches constitute the taproot system as seen in the mustard plant that is given in figure 5.2a. In monocotyledonous plant, the primary root is short-lived and is replaced by a large number of roots. These roots originate from the base of the stem and constitute the fibrous root system as seen in the weight plant that is given in figure 5.2b. In some plants like grass, monstera and the banyan tree, roots arise from parts of the plant other than the radicle and are called adventitious root that is given in figure 5.2c. The main function of the root system are absorption of water, minerals from the soil, providing a proper anchorage to the plant parts, storing reserve food material, and synthesis of plant growth regulator. Figure 5.1 Parts of a flowering plant. Figure 5.2 it is given that different types of root, that is step, fibrous and adventitious. 5.11 Regions of the root. The root is covered at the apex by a thimble-like structure called the root cap that is given in figure 5.3. It protects the tender apex of the root as it makes its way through the soil. A few millimeters above the root cap is the region of meristematic activity. The cells of this region are very small, thin-walled, and with dense protoplasm. They divide repeatedly. The cells proximal to this region undergo rapid elongation and enlargement and are responsible for the growth of the root in length. This region is called the region of elongation. The cell of the elongation zone gradually differentiate and mature. Hence, this zone proximal to region of elongation is called the region of maturation. From this region, some of the epidermal cells form very fine and delicate thread-like structure called root hairs. These root hairs absorb water and minerals from the soil. 5.12 Modification of the root. Roots in some plants change their shape and structure and become modified to perform function other than absorption and conduction of water and mineral. They are modified for support, storage of food and respiration that is given in figure 5.4 and 5.5. Taproot of carrot, turnip, and adventurous root of sweet potato get swollen and store food. Can you give some more example? Have you ever wonder what those hanging structures that support a banyan tree are? These are called prop root. Similarly, the stems of maize and sugar can have supporting roots coming out of the lower nodes of the stem. These are called stilt root. In some plants such as rhizophora growing in swampy area, many roots come out of the ground and grow vertically upward. Such roots called pneumatophores help to get oxygen for respiration that is given in figure 5.5b. Figure 5.5 Modification of root for storage, respiration, pneumatophores in rhizophora. 5.2 The stem. What are the features that distinguish a stem from a root? The stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers, and fruit. It develops from the plumule of the embryo of germinating seed. The, the stem bears nodes and internodes. The region of the stem where leaves are born are called nodes, while internodes are the portion between the two nodes. The stem bears buds which may be terminal or axillary. Stem is generally green when young and later often become woody and dark brown. The main function of the stem is spreading out branches bearing leaves, flowers, and fruit. It conducts water, minerals, photosynthesis. Some stems perform the function of storage of food, support protection and of vegetative propagation. 5.21 Modification of stem. The stem may not always be typically like what they are accepted to be. They are modified to perform different functions, that is given in figure 5.6. Underground stems of potato, ginger, turmeric, jamaica and colocasia are modified to store food in them. They also act as organ of pollination to tide over condition unfavorable for growth. Stem tendrils which develop from auxiliary buds are slender, spirally coiled and help plants to climb, such as in gourds, cucumber, pumpkin and watermelon and grapevines. Auxiliary buds of stem may also get modified into woody, straight and pointed thorns. Thorns are found in many plants such as citrus, bougainvillea. They protect plants from browsing animals. Some plants of arid region modify their stem into flattened opuntia or fleshy cylindrical euphorbia structure. They contain chlorophyll and carry out photosynthesis. Underground stems of some plants such as grass and strawberry etc. spread spread to new niches, and when older parts die, new plants are formed. In plants like mint and jasmine, a slender lateral branch arises from the base of the main axis and after growing airly for some time arc downward to touch the ground. A lateral branch with short internodes and each node bearing a rosette of leaves and tuft of roots is found in aquatic plants like pistia and eichhornia. In banana, pineapple, and chrysanthemum, the lateral branches originate from the basal and underground portion of the main stem, grow horizontally beneath the soil, and then come out obliquely upward, giving rise to leafy shoots. 5.3 The leaf. The leaf is a lateral, generally flattened structure borne on the stem. It develops at the node and bears a bud in its axil. The axillary bud later developed into a branch. Leaves originate from shoot apical meristem and are arranged in an acropetal order. They are the most important vegetative organs for photosynthesis. A typical a typical leaf consists of three main parts: leaf base, petiole, and lamina, that is given in figure 5.7a. The leaf is attached to the stem by the leaf base and may be a two lateral small leaf-like structure called stipules. In monocotyledons, the leaf base expands into a sheath covering the stem partially or wholly. In some leguminous plants, the leaf base may become swollen, which is called the pulvinus. The petiole help hold the blade to light. Long, thin, flexible petiole allow leaf blade to flutter in wind, thereby cooling the leaf and bringing fresh air to leaf surface. The lamina or the leaf blade is the green expanded part of the leaf with veins and windlets. There is usually a middle prominent vein which is known as the midrib. Veins provide rigidity to the leaf blade and act as a channel of transport for water, minerals and food material. The shape, margin, apex, surface and extent of incision of lamina varies in different leaves. 5.31 Venation. The arrangement of veins and the veinlets in the lamina of leaf is termed as venation. When the veinlets form a network, the venation is termed as reticulate. When the veins run parallel to each other within a lamina, the venation is termed as parallel. Leaves of dicotyledonous plants generally possess reticulate venation, while parallel venation is the characteristics of most monocotyledons. 5.32 Types of leaf. A leaf is said to be simple when its lamina is entire or when incised. The incisions do not touch the midrib. When the incision of the lamina reach up to the midrib, breaking it into a number of leaflets. The leaf is called compound. A bud is present in the axil of petiole in both simple and compound leaves, but not in the axil of leaflets of the compound leaf. The compound leaf may be of two types. Figure 5.8. In a pinnately compound leaf, a number of leaflets are present on a common axis, the rachis, which represent the midrib of the leaf as in neem. In palmately compound leaf, the leaflets are attached at a common point, that is at the tip of petiole, as in silk cotton. 5.33 Phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branch. This is usually of three types: alternate, opposite, or and whorled. Figure 5.9. In alternate type of phyllotaxy, a single leaf arises at each node in alternate manner, as in China rose, mustard, and sunflower plants. In opposite type, a pair of leaves arise at each node and lie opposite to each other, as in calotropis and guava plant. If more than two leaves arise at a node from a whorl, it is called whorled, as in Elastonia. 5.34 Modification of leaf. Leaves are often modified to perform function other than photosynthesis. They are converted into tendrils for climbing, as in peas, or into spines for defense, as in cacti. Figure 5.10 A and B. The fleshy leaves of onion and garlic store food, that is given in figure 5.10 C. In some plants, such as Australian acacia, the leaves are small and short-lived. The petioles in this plant expand, become green, and synthesize food. Leaves of certain insectivorous plants, such as pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, are also modified leaves. 5.4 The inflorescence. A flower is modified shoot wherein the shoot apical meristem changes to floral meristems. Internodes do not elongate and the axis gets condensed. The apex produce different kinds of floral appendages laterally at successive nodes instead of leaves. When a shoot tip transforms into a flower, it is solitary. The arrangement of flowers on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence, depending on whether the apex gets developed into a flower or continues to grow. Two major types of inflorescence are defined: racemose and cymose. In racemose type of inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow. The flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal succession, that is given in figure 5.11. In cymose type of inflorescence, the main axis terminates in a flower, hence is limited in growth. The flowers are borne in a basipetal order, that is given in figure 5.12. 5.5 The flower is the reproductive unit in the angiosperm. It is meant for sexual reproduction. A typical flower has four different kinds of whorls arranged successively on the swollen end of the stalk or pedicel, called thalamus or receptacles. These are calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. Calyx and corolla are accessory organ, while androecium and gynoecium are reproductive organ. In some flowers, like lily, the calyx and corolla are not distinct and are termed as perianth. When a flower has both androecium and gynoecium, it is bisexual. A flower having either only stamens or only carpels is unisexual. In symmetry, the flower may be actinomorphic, that is radial symmetry, or zygomorphic, that is bilateral symmetry. When a flower can be divided into two equal radial halves in a radial plane passing through the center, it is said to be actinomorphic. Example: mustard, dhatura, chili. When it can be divided into two similar halves in only in one particular vertical plane, it is zygomorphic. Example: pea, gulmohar, bean, cassia. A flower which is asymmetric, that means irregular, if it cannot be divided into two similar halves by any vertical plane passing through the center, as in kanna. A flower may be trimerous, tetramerous, or pentamerous when the floral appendages are in multiple of 3, 4, or 5 respectively. Flowers with bracts, reduced leaf found at the base of the pedicle, are called bracted, and those without bracts, that is called ebracted. Figure 5.13 Position of floral parts on thalamus. Hypogynous B and C. B. Perigynous B. B and C is called as perigynous, D is epigynous, based on the position of calyx, corolla, and androecium in respect of the ovary and thalamus. The flowers are described as hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. It is given in figure 5.13. In the hypogynous flower, the gynosium occupy the highest position while the other parts are situated below it. The ovary in such flower is said to be superior. Example: mustard, china rose, and brinjal. If gynosium is situated in the center and the other parts of the flower are located on the rim of the thalamus almost at the same level, it is called perigynous. The ovary here is said to be half inferior. Example: plum, rose, peach. In epigynous flower, the margin of thalamus grows upward, enclosing the ovary completely and getting fused with it. The other parts of flower arise above the ovary, hence the ovary is said to be inferior, as in flowers of guava and cucumber and the ray florets of sunflower. 5.51 Parts of a flower. Each flower normally has four floral walls, that is calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynosium. Figure 5.14. 5.51.1 Calyx. The calyx is the outermost wall of the flower, and the members are called sepals. Generally, sepals are green, leaf-like, and protect the flower in the bud stage. The calyx may be gamosepals or polysepals. 5.51.2 Corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. Petals are usually brightly colored to attract insect for pollination. Like calyx, corolla may also be gamopetalous or polypetalous. The shape and color of corolla vary greatly in plants. Corolla may be tubular, bell-shaped, funnel-shaped, or wheel-shaped. Estivation: the mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in floral bud with respect to the other members of the same whole is known as estivation. The main types of estivation are volvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary, that is given in figure 5.15. When sepals or petals in a whole just touch one another at the margin without overlapping, as in calotropis, it is said to be valvate. If one margin of the appendage overlap that of the next one, and so on, as in china rose, lady's finger, and cotton, it is called twisted. If the margins of sepals or petals overlap one another but not in any particular direction, as in cassia and gulmohar, the estivation is called imbricate. In pea and bean flower, there are 5 petals. The largest standard overlaps the two lateral petals wings, which in turn overlap the two smallest interior petals, that is keel. This type of estivation is known as vexillary or papillineous. Figure 5.15 Types of estivation in corolla: volvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary. 5.51.3 Androecium. Androecium is composed of stamens. Each stamen, which represent the male reproductive organ, consists of a stalk or a filament and an anther. Each anther is usually bilobed, and each lobe has two chambers. The pollen sac. The pollen grains are produced in pollen sacs. A sterile stamen is called staminode. Stamen of flower may be united with other members such as petals or among themselves. When stamens are attached to the petals, they are epipetalous, as in brinjal, or epiphyllous when attached to the perianth, as in the flowers of lily. The stamens in a flower may either remain free, that is polyandrous, or may be united in varying degrees. The stamens may be united into one bunch or one bundle, that is monodelphous, as in china rose, or two bundles, that is diadelphous, as in pea, or into more than two bundles, that is polydelphous, as in citrus. There may be variation in the length of filament within a flower, as in salvia and mustard. 5.51.4 Gynosium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower and is made up of one or more carpels. A carpel consists of three parts, namely stigma, style, ovary. Ovary is the enlarged basal part on which lies the elongated tube. The style connects the ovary to the stigma. The stigma is usually at the tip of the style and it is the receptive surface for pollen grain. Each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flattened cushion like placenta. When more than one carpel is present, they may be free as in lotus and rose and are called apocarpus. They are termed syncarpus when carpels are fused, as in mustard and tomato. After fertilization, the ovules develop into seeds and the ovary mature into fruit. Placentation. The arrangement of ovules within the ovary is known as placentation. The placentation of different types, namely marginal, axial, parietal, basal, central, and free central. That is figure 5.16. In marginal placentation, the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary, and the ovules are borne on this ridge, forming two rows, as in P. When the placenta is axial and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary, the placentation is said to be axial, as in China rose, tomato, and lemon. In parietal placentation, the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary on on peripheral part. Ovary is one chambered, but it becomes two chambered due to the formation of the false septum. Example, mustard and argemone. When the ovules are borne on central axis and septa are present, as in dianthus and primrose, the placentation is called free central. In basal placentation, the placenta develops at the base of ovary and a single ovule is attached to it, as in sunflower and marigold. 5.6. The fruit. The fruit is characteristic feature of the flowering plant. It is a mature or ripened ovary developed after fertilization. If a fruit is formed without fertilization of the ovary, it is called a parthenocarpic fruit. Generally, the fruit consists of a whorl or pericarp and seeds. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. When pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into the outer epicarp, the middle mesocarp, and the inner endocarp. Figure 5.7, 5.17. Parts of a fruit. First, mango. B, coconut. In mango and coconut, the fruit is known as drupe, that is given in figure 5.17. They develop from monocarpellary superior ovaries and are one seeded. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into an outer thin epicarp, in middle fleshy edible mesocarp, and an inner stony hard endocarp. In coconut, which is also a drupe, the mesocarp is fibrous. 5.7. The seeds. The ovules after fertilization develops into seed. A seed is made up of a seed coat and embryo. The embryo is made up of radicle and embryonal axis and one, as in wheat and maize, or two cotyledons, as in gram and pea. 5.71. Structure of dicotyledonous seed. That the outermost covering of a seed is the seed coat. The seed coat has two layers, the outer testa and the inner tegmen. The hilum is scar on the seed coat through which the developing seeds were attached to the fruit. Above the hilum is a small pore called micropyle. Within the seed coat is the embryo consisting of an embryonal axis and two cotyledons. The cotyledons are often fleshy and full of reserved food material. At the two ends of the embryonal axis are present the radicle and the plumule. Figure 5.18. In some seeds such as castor, the endosperm formed as a result of double fertilization is a food storing tissue and called endospermic seed. In plants such as bean, gram, and pea, the endosperm is not present in mature seeds, and such seeds are called non-endospermous. 5.72. Structure of monocotyledonous seeds. Generally, monocotyledonous seeds are endospermic, but some, as in orchids, are non-endospermic. In the seeds of cereals such as maize, the seed coat is membranous and generally fused with the fruit wall. The endosperm is bulky and stores food. The outer covering of the endosperm separates the embryo by a proteinous layer called aleurone layer. The embryo is small and situated in a groove at the end of the endosperm. It consists of one large and shield-shaped cotyledon known as scutellum and a short axis with a plumule and radicle. The plumule and radicles are enclosed in a sheath which are called coleoptile and coleregia respectively. Figure 5.19. Figure 5.19 is structure of a monocotyledonous seed. 5.8 semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief, in a simple and specific language, and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its vegetative character, root, stems and leaf, and the floral character, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula are represented. The floral formula is represented by some symbol. In the floral formula, BR stand for bractet, K stand for calyx, C stand for corolla, P stand for perianth, A stand for androecium, G for gynosium, and G for superior ovary, and G slash in upside for inferior ovary. For men, there are some symbols which you have to see in the book. You have to see for recognizing. Fusion is, I have started leaving 3 lines. After that I am going to start. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within bracket and addition by a line drawn above the symbol of the floral parts. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of a flower, their arrangement, and the relation they have with one another. That is given in figure 5.20. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot on the top of the floral diagram. Calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynosium are drawn in successive whorls, calyx being the outermost and the gynosium being in the central floral formula, and shows cohesion and adhesion within parts of whorls and between whorls. The floral diagram and floral formula in figure 5.20 represent the mustard plant family Brassicaceae. 5.9 Description of some important families. 5.91 Fabaceae. This family was earlier called Papilidione, a subfamily of Leguminaceae. It is distributed all over the world. That is given in figure 5.21. Vegetative character: trees, shrubs, herbs, roots with root radials, stems erect or climber, leaves alternate, pinnately compound or simple leaf base, fulminate, stipulate, venation, reticulate. Floral character: inflorescence, racemose, flower, bisexual, zygomorphic, calyx, sepals 5, gamosepalous, volvate, indicate aestivation, corolla, petals 5, polypetalous, papilionosis, consisting of a posterior standard, 2 lateral wings, 2 anterior ones forming a keel enclosing stamens and pistil, maxillary aestivation, androecium, 10 diadelphous, anther diathecus, gynosium, ovary, superior monocarpellary, unilocular, with many ovules, style single, fruit, legume, seed, 1 to many, non-endospermic. Floral formula is given, you have to see in the book. Economic importance: many plants belonging to the family are sources of pulses, that is gram, arhar, sam, mung, soybean, edible oil, soybean oil, groundnut oil, dye, indigofera, fiber, sunham, fodder, sesbania trifolium, ornamental, lupin, sweet pea, medicine, muletti. 5.92 Solanaceae. It is a large family commonly called as potato family. It is widely distributed in tropics, subtropics, and even temperate zones. Vegetative character: plant mostly herbs, shrubs, and rarely small trees. Stem herbaceous, rarely woody, aerial, erect, cylindrical, branched, and solid, or hollow or hairy, glabrous underground stem in Solanum tuberosum. Leaves alternate, simply, rarely pinnately compound, stipulate, venation, reticulate. Floral character: inflorescence solitary, axillary, or thymos and solanum. Flower bisexual, acidinomorphic, calyx, sepals 5, united, persistent, volvate aestivation, corolla Petals 5 united valvate aestivation androecium. Stamens 5 epipetalous gynoecium bicarpellary obligately placed syncarpous. Ovary superior bilocular, placenta swollen with many ovules. Exile fruits, berry or capsule. Seeds many endospermous. Floral formula is given, you have to see in the book. Economic importance, many plants belonging to this family are sources of food: tomato, brinjal, potato, etc. Spices, chili, medicine, belladonna, ashwagandha, fumigatory, tobacco, ornamental, petunia. 5.93 Liliaceae, commonly called the lily family, is a characteristics representative of monocotyledonous plant. It is distributed worldwide. That is given in figure 5.23. Vegetative character, perennial herbs with underground bulbs, cones, rhizome. Leaves mostly basal and alternate linear exstipulate with parallel venation. Floral character, inflorescence solitary, cymose, often umbellate cluster. Flower bisexual, acidonomorphic, perianth. Tepal 6 3 plus 3, often are united into two volvate aestivation. Androecium stamen 6 3 plus 3, epipetalous. Gynoecium tricarpelli, syncarpous. Ovary superior, trilocular with many ovules. Exile placentation. Fruit capsule, rarely berry. Seed endospermous. Floral formula is given in the book, you have to show. Economic importance, many plants belonging to this family are good ornamentals. Tulip gloriosa, source of medicine. Aloe, vegetable. Asparagus, colicini, colchium autumnale. Summary: flowering plants exhibit enormous variation in shape, size, structure, mode of nutrition, lifespan, habitat. They have well developed root and shoot system. Root system is either tap root or fibrous. Generally dicotyledonous plants have tap roots, with monocotyledon plants have fibrous root. The roots in some plants get modified for storage of food, mechanical support, and respiration. Morphological features of stem, like the presence of nodes and internodes, multicellular hair, and positively phototropic nature, help to differentiate the stems from roots. Stems also get modified to perform diverse functions such as storage of food, vegetative propagation, and protection under different conditions. Leaf is a lateral outgrowth of stem developed exogenously at the node. These are green in color to perform the function of photosynthesis. Leaves exhibit marked variations in their shape, size, margin, apex and extent of incision of leaf blade, that is lamina. Like other parts of plant, the leaves also get modified into other structure, such as tendrils, spines for climbing and protection respectively. The flower is a modified suit meant for sexual reproduction. The flowers are arranged in different types of inflorescence. They exhibit enormous variation in the structure, symmetry, position of ovary in relation to the other parts, arrangement of petals, sepals, ovules, etc. After fertilization, the ovary is modified into fruits, ovules into seeds. Seeds either may be monocotyledonous or dicotyledonous. They vary in shape, size, and period of viability. The floral characteristics form the basis of classification and identification of flowering plants. These can be illustrated through a semi-technical description of families. Hence, a flowering plant is described in a definite sequence by using scientific terms. The floral features are represented in the summarized form as floral diagram and floral formula. Thank you friends for listening this audio, and please post your comment if you want any kind of improvement. So मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय एंड स्टे ट्यून्ड विद बायोलॉजी क्रिटिक एंड एंजॉय द नॉलेज. ओके बाय.